Welcome. Okay, the recording on the go?
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right. Okay. Nice of you guys to join, and I believe there are some instructors and students, which is good. I'll cover both areas because we find even in our club, some of the instructors still haven't got it right yet to work with the training files. So we'll go through the whole process. Right from a student flight, what the student must do to fill it in, or the duty pilot, and the training file. It's actually not too difficult, and I'll just go through with you. We just actually upgraded the website just for a bit of info, and one of the biggest changes is flight declarations and badge claims. With Peter asked for that, so it'll make it much easier for claiming of badges and that. So I just thought I'd just mention that. I'm just going to log in under my, no wait, I'm going to go through on your club. I think I'll just log in so you can see your students there. So basically, I don't know if your club is actively filling in the timesheets. I don't think so. I think it's fairly sporadic. And I would encourage, at least for the students, for the training flying, try and get into the habit of each student who flies fills in their spreadsheet, the training file, or the duty pilot does it for them. In our club, the duty pilot is responsible to make sure the timesheets are done for the day. So icons at the top here, the ones that we're going to cover are just really the timesheets here on
Sorry,
that icon.
Paul, if I can just come in briefly, it's vital for us because that's one of my areas as an instructor. The student doesn't fill his stuff in. I can't get rid of the things against my name because there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why we're being criticized in audits, and I've got stuff sitting there because the students have done nothing. And that's the absolute start of this whole process.
Yeah. So in our club, we basically say to the student, if they're not up to date, they don't go solo. So they've got to make sure that all their flights are up to date. And the students can't turn around and say, well, the duty pilots didn't fill it in, because at the end of the day, the student can look after their own flights. I mean, if you're a private pilot, you've got to sort your logbooks out, everything's on board. So there's no reason why we can't do it. And I'll just show for the students that are here, I'll show you how to do it. So if the duty pilot hasn't filled in your flight for the day as a student, then you just go into your green logbook or your blue one. I'm not too sure which Michalis uses, and just go and check your flight. And when you're at home, just fill the details in, and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so let's go to the timesheets. The timesheets are organized in date and month order. So you can actually go to any timesheet here, and you can go and backdate and look at timesheets. But let's add a new flight entry, okay, which is over here, the icon there at the top left-hand corner. That's quite easy. All you do is you just open that. So I'm talking as a student now, and I add a new flight entry. You can see there are certain fields that need to be filled in depending on what type of flight it is. Okay, so let's say it's an error tow. It'll default on the day, but let's say you're backdating to let's say on Sunday or something like that, and we'll go the 13th. You can say what aircraft it is. I'm just going to use I'll use one of these. Which ones are your training ones? Just give me a training glider. Did anyone know? Okay, I'll take that one anyway. Here is the key. Flight type. You must select instruct there. There are three basic timesheet entries that you can put in, either a normal one, and that's normally for private pilots or people who are flying on their own. Instructional, which is with students, and an intro or a PAX flight. Depending on the flight. So we'll choose an instructional flight. So it's just the launch method, date, aircraft, and flight time. Now we come to the pilot details. P1 or instructor. So we'll just choose, let me just take Jason for now. The pupil, maybe who can I choose here? Give me someone who I can fill in as a pupil. Where is it? Leon. Leon.
Venka Leslie.
W. Venka.
Venka, yeah.
Oh, that Bill Weideman is good.
There we go. If your name isn't on the list, okay, you must just get hold of your club administrator to add your name onto the list. So when you join the club, you should get an account here, or you should actually go to registering on My Gliding Club. I'll come back to show you how to register if you haven't registered. So your name won't be on this list if you haven't registered. You need to register on My Gliding Club. So let me just take Bull for now. You can fill in the tug and the tug driver or the winch driver. That's more for club purposes, but you don't have to fill that in. I would suggest just fill it in because it just keeps nice statistics. I mean, at the end of each year, we just press a button in the reports and we get full stats for the years flying for our AGMs. So no one needs to go to accounting or anything to go and look at the stats. It all gets generated and printed out via My Gliding Club. That's assuming you're diligent in capturing your flights. Okay, so pilot details. The P1 is the instructor, very important, and the P2 is the pupil. Okay, so the instructor's filled in, the pupil's filled in, which type of aircraft it was. If it's a TMG, you'll notice those fields disappear. So it's only fields are applicable according to what type of launch method you've done over here. Charge flight 2. This is really for counting purposes if you want to. If you're a pupil, then obviously the instructor won't get charged. It just defaults to P2. Not very important. It's more for the counting side of things. Okay. Right. So we've got the pilot details, flight times, takeoff time. So let's say it was at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. You can do the tug as well. When I was flying in the early days, I also enjoyed seeing what the tug times were and that. So I would suggest keep the tug details here as well, because it is on your duty pilot timesheet. So that would be a good one. So it'll be 9 o'clock, and let's say it landed at that was a short tow, 6-minute tow. And let's say I flew at 9 till 10 o'clock. So I flew an hour flight. Okay. These flight times, you can just fill in here. And flight entry comments if you want to. Okay, so these are the only fields you need to fill in. So it's the launch method, the date, aircraft, and instructional. That's very important. If you don't fill in instruction there, you won't get a training file generated on the system. So if you don't see your training file as a student, then you know that this hasn't been marked as an instructional flight. Okay, before I move on, are there any questions anyone has?
Yeah, Paul, just one question. If it has been added like that as a normal flight type, does the student have the capability to change this flight, to edit it and change it to an instructional flight so that he can get that instructional options on his side?
Yeah, so let me just fill in a normal one here for you, and I'll show you how to do that. It's quite simple. With My Gliding Club, anyone who's got access to My Gliding Club can change the timesheets, and that's been done specifically just to spread the load for this very reason. So I'll put it as a normal one, and I'll come back and I'll change it just to show you. Okay, so we'll save the flight. So what it's done now is that it's put the flight there on the 13th. There you can see automatically. It does it in date order, the newest date to the oldest date, because I mean, it's just handy that way, because you know invariably the newest flight is the one that you're working on. You can see it's marked here on the top in the right hand corner there. It's marked a normal flight type, not instructional. So the student will come along. He comes to the timesheet here, and he can just edit it there. So there's an edit there. So the ones that you'd be interested in is the edit button. You click that. What it does is just presents you with all the fields that were filled in. So all you do is you just go to the instruction and you click instruct there, and then you save it again. So that's all you need to do. So let's change it to an instructional flight. So we've just captured a timesheet now. You can see it's quite quick and easy, and many folk think it's quite long dradig, but not really. If you get the hang of it, it's quick to fill in your flight. You know, it takes probably 20 seconds. Okay, so let's move on to the training file now. So if you go back to the home menu, you must go to My Details. Okay, now the My Details menu is basically everything that My Gliding Club pertains to you as the member, whether you're an instructor, whether you're a student, everything to do with your information is put under the My Details menu. If we go to My Details, you can see there are a whole lot of different icons here. You can adjust your profile here. There's your flights. There's a training file. You can generate logbooks. I use this to generate a logbook for the CAA every 2 years. I can just print it out and then just paste it in my logbook. The summary, duty roster dates, and other things to do with you as the member in My Details. Now, because I'm not logged in as Jason as an instructor or Bill as a pupil, I won't see his flights here. So let me just think how we can actually simulate that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to log in under my own name on my club, and then I can actually do that. It's probably better.
While you're busy, Paul, the question is going to arise, certainly on my part, is the instructor now needs to know that flight has been logged, and how does he get into the student's training file to be able to complete the process?
Yeah,
that is where I often have difficulty.
Yeah, no problem. I'll cover that now. So I'm going to go in under my own profile, and let me just go to my details here. So here we go. I've done a couple of instructional flights. I did one in February, but I've already signed it off. So let me just create another one quickly. Sorry, I just need to create it here so that we can get an entry for you. So it's an Erito today. Let me just go. So there, that's an instructional. I'm making myself the pupil and the instructor. Okay, so just don't get confused, but it's just easier so that emails don't go out to anyone else. Wait, let me just put, it was a tug, and I made myself the tug driver as well. 6 o'clock and 6, 13, 14, 15, and the glider landed at 6. Let's make it 58. Okay. Okay, so there on the 15th, there's my my flight on my timesheet. Now I'm going back to my details here. There you can see the flight there that I had. Okay, this is the timesheet. So there's the timesheets. If I go to my training file, if I click on there, there you will see the one that I've just done now on the 15th. Can you see that? So this is the training file. The training file is linked to the timesheet, and because I marked it as instructional on the timesheet, then I've got access to my training file. So they link to each other. You can see there's an edit button here. So that means nothing's been filled in. I haven't signed it off. I haven't notified the instructor yet or anything like that. So let me just go and fill in my exercises and show you how to notify the instructor. So all you do is you just go and you edit it like this, and it'll open up a screen with a training file. It gives you a summary of the flight. Here's the flight folio. So it gives you the flight folio details, takeoff, which aircraft, P1, P2. Okay, so it already gives you those details there. It fills it in for you, the instructor. The flight number. Now, if you're quite polite in your logbook and you've been numbering your flights, just simply edit this and put in, let's say 15. So it's my 15th student flight. Okay. Exercise category. These are free flow fields, meaning you can actually decide yourself how you would like to categorize your stuff. So I'm just going to do, let's say, takeoff. This is for my own use. It's not for anything else. So takeoff center. Okay, so these are my own flight notes. These are my student notes. I think someone's got their. Can someone just mute the other guys, please? Hilton?
Hilton, can you just mute the
I'm busy muted.
Okay, thanks. Cool. Okay, ground briefing time. I suggest you do fill this in. One of the training file aspects that come up every year is CA likes to see ground briefing time. And this is a good indication of adding a bit of extra to your flight time. What I mean by that is ground briefing is considered part of the training file, and CAA acknowledges the ground briefing time. They like to see that. So, you know, if you had a chat with your instructor and he said, what are we going to do now? And he gave you kind of explained some pointers. And then afterwards, when you landed, you also had a ground briefing, you know, afterwards, then just put in there. So let's say it was 20 minutes. Okay. And ground briefing notes. Now you're welcome to make notes for yourself on what your ground briefing was. So let's say theory or something like that. Can't think now. So put whatever you want in there. It's not compulsory, but it's good to keep track of it. You want to try and keep whatever you've put in your whatever notes have been put in your logbook, just fill the notes in here. Okay, here is where everyone probably gets a bit confused. Okay, the notify instructor, basically once you filled your training file in, the instructor only gets notified if you click this and you activate this. Okay. So I'm just going to carry on filling in and come back to this just to show you how it works. Okay, the other thing you need to do is you need to fill in your exercises. So I'm going to fill in, I'm going to say I did a load turn and I got a A+. There's a green plus and a minus. So all you do is you just click the plus and you can add another exercise to it. So I did a load tow, and I did effects of controls. I'm still fine with that. And I did another one, which was, let's say, crosswind takeoff and so forth. So what you do is you just add all the exercises that you did on that flight. I'm not too sure how your logbook works. Our logbook is the green one, and it's got columns with the different exercises, and we just replicate it. So you can add as much as you want. You can delete here as well. If you made a mistake, just delete it and add another one. So we'll say GPL exercises, and we'll say circuit planning. And I've still got a bit of practice on that one. Okay. Now I can save this. Let's say I haven't finished filling in my my exercise. I want to come back to it because I wanted to find out about something. I wanted to get clarity in my logbook or something like that. I'll say no, I won't notify the instructor, and I'll save it here. Okay. What it does is that it basically saves it there. Okay. But you can see on the right-hand side, the instructor hasn't been notified yet. Okay, so he still doesn't know yet that you filled this in. Now I've gone to clarify an exercise. I perhaps phoned the instructor and I said, yeah, did we do this or did we do that? And I want to finally sign it off and send it on to the instructor. So I'll come back to my edit here. And you simply go down and say, okay, well, I missed out an exercise. So I'm just going to add another one quickly because I missed out on one. Because once you've signed it off, very important, once you've signed it off and notify the instructor, you cannot change this again on your side. It kind of gets closed for you as a student. And this is part of the CAA kind of self-audits that we move towards. The fact is, once it's been signed off, then it's in the instructor's hands and he signs it off on his side. And it's part of the audit trail that helps us to pass every year. So very important, just make sure you've finished your exercises. And the last thing you need to do is just say yes, notify the instructor. Once you do that and save it, okay, you save it here. You can see here, notify instructor has been marked. It's been ticked over there.
Sorry,
So
Paul,
what is-
just to come in there, can't you tick it off there straight away? You first got to go through the other process for it to get there. Is that correct? Or can you tick
You
it there
can't,
straight away?
no, you can't tick it there. That's just an indication for you.
Okay.
You've got to physically go in and confirm it. Technically, this isn't a requirement yet, but it's going to come. I think if we eventually, with Nikki and the guys working on getting our own kind of what's the word, moving away from CA and self-regulating ourselves, this might become a requirement where you've got to physically sign it off as a student. So it's not compulsion at the moment, but it's probably is going to come, just to provide that audit trail for CAA. So you've got to go in here anyway to sign it off.
Okay.
And you've got to go in here to, you've got to go in to notify the instructor.
Sorry, Paul, I've got a question there.
Yes.
Just when you pick your if you just go back, so when you pick your flight and then you select your exercises. So I've noticed on my gliding club, when you click TMG, it doesn't give you the options to pick the exercise. You have to click GPL and then you're able to see the exercises. Is that
yeah, so if you did your training on the TMG, then you'd need to click here on the exercise, and then you'd need to go to TMG here.
If you click TMG, maybe you can do that. You'll see the exercises don't appear.
Then it means your club. We need to get your club to put their exercises in here.
Okay.
But I'll work with Hilton or you guys to make sure your exercises are here, the TMG exercises.
Perfect. All right.
So
We'll work on that.
Okay, so if I've already put my exercises under the GPL, will I have to redo everything now again, or it's still?
No, I can make a plan to move it over for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So if you've already put it under the GPL, then I'll move them over for you. So I'll pick up which ones, or maybe Hilton can tell me which ones are doing their TMG only training, or something, and then I'll make a plan so you don't have to redo it all.
All right, sure. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, so I'll work with your club just to get the TMG exercises in place for that. Okay, but let me just put there for now. Okay, wait, I'm just going to cancel that. All right, so this has been sent off to the instructor. Now, because I'm also an instructor, I can edit this thing. I can go and work with a training file. But if you're a student, you won't be able to edit it. So there won't be a facility here for you to change it. Okay, so don't get confused. I'm the instructor and I'm the pupil, so that's why I've got access to change it. Okay, so what it's done is it's actually sent an email off now to the instructor. Let me see if it's arrived on my inbox yet. Let me just check here. And then I can show you what it looks like. It hasn't arrived yet. It only goes every 15 minutes or so. I'll come back to that. It sends a notification to the instructor, and it says, "Dear Paul, Joe Soap has just finished their training file. These are the exercises. Click on this link to go and edit it or go and approve it." So it's quite convenient. You can just click on the link and it'll go straight to that exercise that's been filled in by the student. It's in your email. Let me just see if I've got an old one here. I'm just looking here if there's an old one. Sorry,
Paul,
just give me a moment.
Paul, how long does it take from when he did that to when you get the mail?
The mail in my gliding club only goes off every 15 minutes, so it should be 15 minutes at the longest. The longest. I haven't got it now at the moment, but I just want to see if I've got old ones here. Just give me a moment. I don't want to waste you guys' time. Okay, gliding club. Okay, let me. This is a confirmation one, so I need to get the one. This is the instructor's confirmation. Let me get the other one. Exercise updated. Steve Porter. I'm sorry, I don't have an example of one that gets sent to an instructor on hand, but it's similar to this. This is typically what the email is. It just says, "Dear," this is one that comes back after an instructor's confirmed it. So let me just let me confirm it. Okay, so now I've received my email as an instructor. I click on the link and it will take me directly to the screen, which is my flights. You need to go to the training file. It'll open up directly and it'll open up the entry that you have to fill in as an instructor. So you will arrive at this screen, okay, which is the same as the student screen, but it's got a couple of extra fields. So it'll show you what he has filled in.
Can I interrupt you? You say you have to open my training file. So you're not opening your training file, you're opening the student's training file.
Yeah, but you're the instructor. So it's my training file, but you are an instructor. So it is essentially your responsibility.
Yeah, but you're saying my training file is not mine, Brian Wolford. It's mine, student Paul Bailey, that I'm opening.
That's correct, yes.
Now, that confused me for a bit. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's put it this way. If you rather want to not get too confused, Brian, when you log in, you as an instructor will have the instructor's training files there. You see that?
Okay, and your training files under that.
Yeah. So if you click that, you just go to the student training file, which is there, and that'll show you all the students and all the instructors. So this is the student, the instructor's kind of go-to place, if you want to call it for want of a better word.
You can't go in through that to go and sort out a training session.
Yes, you can.
You can. Okay.
You can, yeah. Yeah, so you can get to it from your My Training file, or you can get to it here as well.
So that's from all training files.
Yeah, this is all training files. So this is kind of the more convenient place an instructor would come. And the reason being is you can actually see, okay, Peter Clements also did a training yesterday, and maybe he did Paul Bailey's training yesterday. So you as an instructor can go and look and see what the guy did yesterday or something, you know, for continuity. So you've got very easy access to all the different training information.
Now, does MGC have this facility? Which one do we have so that we can function?
You have exactly this facility, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
This one, yeah. So you go to the instructor's training files there. But that's only visible if you're marked as an instructor. So if you're an instructor and you can't see this icon, then it means you haven't been marked as an instructor in your profile. So you'd need to ask someone in admin or someone who's responsible for My Guiding Club just to switch you on.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
So I've got my instructor's hat on now. I've just received the email, and I'm going to the instructor's training file. I'm going to the student one. This is the instructor's dashboard. So it's very handy. It'll tell you, everything to do with the instructions, the student currency at the bottom, outstanding training file. So you can see I still have to fill in a training file here. You can see there's quite a few that still haven't been done in our club. So I'm going to go to the student training file and I'm going to adjust and approve the one that was just sent to me now, which is this one on the 15th. So I'll go and edit it. It'll give you all the details that the student filled in. You can see there, good takeoff, keep center, all those details. There's the exercises. I will confirm as the instructor that this is in fact what I did do with the student, just to make sure, because remember, if you sign it off, the responsibility stops with the instructor. And CAA and the audits, they like to take a random person, a random student, and go and check in his logbook, and then go and see an instructor, and they like to go and see the training file with the instructor and the exercises that were logged on both sides. So just be proactive about that. All right, so I've looked at this and I'm happy, except I'm going to make a note to my fellow instructors here. So this is the instructor notes, visible to instructors only. So I'm going to make a note to my fellow instructor and just say, tends to out too early. Okay, just for the next flight for the instructor. All I need to do is say, yes, I acknowledge this exercise. Okay, so I'm basically signing it off. And I save it. And that's all that needs to be done. Okay, so you can see the instructor has been notified, the student told me, and I, as the instructor, have replied. I've put a tick mark there. What it does is it sends an email off to the student and to yourself. And this is the email that comes and just says, okay, dear Donnie, this is just to know that Michelle, he's an instructor, has just updated the following, and has approved it. So this is what you'll get as a student, as an instructor, to say that it's been signed off. And that's basically all that's needed from an instructor's point of view to sign off the training file. Any questions?
Paul, we had one question, sorry,
opportunity.
not relating to this, quite a while ago from Benny, that asked, is inter-club logging possible? So if a person from Club X flies at Club A and vice versa and so on.
Yes, I can show you how to do that. I'll come back to that. I just want to sign off the timesheets and the training file.
Sorry, Paul, there is one point I'd like to clear up. At MGC, we got some system there at the launch point where we're meant to work off a slate or off your own iPhone. And there's a format you can download onto that, which Okay, for reasons of signal and so on, I haven't been able to do. Can I contact you personally at some stage just to sort out how to do that, please?
Yes, I think you guys use the Excel spreadsheet.
Yes, we use the offline Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, you use the offline Excel spreadsheet, you fill it all in, and then you should be able to import the day's flights into my gliding club.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to get that onto my iPhone because we're meant to be using that. But as I say, because of signal problems, we can't do that at the field. So if I could contact you at some stage just to sort that out, please.
Yeah, sure. If you don't have data signal, then you wouldn't be able to. You would typically, the best would be is to, before you leave home, just get the offline spreadsheet and then put it onto your iPhone from home, and then go and fill it in at the club, and then when you get back home, just upload it. So you don't need to. You don't actually need to have signal at the airfield to fill in the offline timesheet. But I can work with someone in your club who's responsible for that to kind of just revive that. You used to use that in the old days, and I'm happy to work with whoever's responsible for that.
Well, Paul, maybe if you can just show us how to get the offline timesheet, just so that we can log it, and then, you know, at a later
sure.
just show everyone how to import it back into my gliding club.
Okay, so you go to the timesheets menu, okay, which is the daily flight info, and importing. You go to importing, and you say create offline timesheet. So you just click it there, and you just say what is the date that you want to generate it for. Let's say it's the 15th, and you say create now. And what it does is you can just download it here. So I'm going to open it up. There's the offline. And I'm just going to open it up now. I should be able to get it there. There we go. So there's the offline timesheets generated for you. And you will see, if you click on this list here, it'll have all your members there, all the active members. So all you need to do is you can actually just fill in who the flights were with your spreadsheet, launch pilot.
How do you get that onto your iPhone? Or do you have to put it on a laptop and take it with you?
No, you can log into my gliding club on your iPhone if you want.
And download it from there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Now I'm with you.
Yeah. I'll show you. Look, I know Mark was looking at expanding it for a mobile app, you know, but they haven't finalized anything there yet. My gliding club is geared more for a bigger screen. As you can see, there's a lot of information. It's actually a business tool, not really to be used on phones, because there's a lot of information. But it does kind of have a bit of a, what's the word, mobile responsive. If you go there on your phone, you can click on the menu, and you can go to timesheets.
Okay, so the fact the club is using some form of tool at the launch point means that that's all going to be recorded on there, and then someone's got to go and download it after flying to get it onto the timesheet on my gliding club.
That's correct.
Okay.
Our members use the automatic fly-on timesheet facility that we've got, the automatic flight logging. So all the GD pilot does at the end of the day is just kind of allocate the pilots because the flight time's already all there. So I would strongly recommend that you maybe consider that, because it takes a lot of the hassle out of the flying.
I'm just saying this for folk, gliding club folk to take note of. There seems to be a better way of doing this. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So this is what it'll look on your iPhone. So all you do is you just go to the menu, to the timesheet menu, and go to create offline timesheet there. So there is a certain measure that and it is mobile responsive, so you will be able to get it on your iPhone.
Well, thanks for that, Paul.
So Paul, if it's recorded by OGN,
Yes.
then the flight comes up automatically. The students, the times are in. All the student has to do is to then just fill in his details on that one. Is that correct?
That's correct. All he needs to do is just fill in who the instructor was, who the pupil was, and who the tug pilot was. The flight times are all there, and it's as soon as he's taken off, it's there within probably 2 minutes afterwards. The flight entry is there. So it works brilliantly. I mean, yes, I mean, in 40 flights in a day, it's all there. By the end of the day, the duty pilot, he just fills it in at the end of the day quickly. You know, he just allocates the students or the pilots. I think just about every glider in our club has got a FLAM. So even the private pilots, their names are filled in there automatically. And my gliding club is intelligent enough to say, if you're an owner of the glider, it puts your name in there automatically. So it logs your flight time automatically there. Okay, so we're done with the timesheets and with the, I think someone's making notes here. Who's that, Martin? Hello, are we still in line?
Yeah, you there? Everything good?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out
I
what's
can
going
hear
on.
you.
Yeah, I think someone Martin has drawn on the screen, I think. Anyway, one can take that off. Is the screen still visible?
Yeah, it's still visible. I just don't know how to take that off though.
Ask Martin to undo it. Okay.
Hit undo or Control Alt Delete.
Control Z, Martin, if you can just push Control Z.
Yeah.
Bit of a problem. I'm on my cell phone, so I'll try to delete it, but sorry.
Okay, are we done with the timesheets and the training file? Is anyone got any questions? Here we go, it's gone, thanks.
Paul, just one question though. When you showed how to add flights timesheet, that's basically how you're going to be doing that live at the flight line for each and every flight.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And then your students can then just go fill in their flight from there. So even if you log it in, you'll log it, well, for the offline timesheet, you'll mark it as an instruction flight, and then the student can just go and fill in all the information regarding their flight.
That's correct, yes. Here's the flight type here. If you click on here, you say instruction there, okay? And if you import it, then it'll automatically generate a training file for you if you marked it as an instructional flight.
Perfect.
So Paul, just again, can this be done live during the day while the guys are, you know, once the guy comes down and he's landed and he says, right, I now can remember what I've done, I want to fill it in. Is that possible, or only if you have the OGN system?
No, you can do it live, but just remember it's either offline or live. What I mean by that is when you import it, it'll delete all the entries that were already there and it'll import it from the spreadsheet. So you must decide either you're going to use the spreadsheet or you're going to use it live. And it depends on who you're going to put the onus on. Is it the student that's responsible to make sure his flight is on the system and it's a timesheet, or you're going to rely on the duty pilot? And I guess that's a challenge you guys would have. So let me just show you here.
So just asking again, so at your club, because I mean, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. Do the students put it in on the same day? Are you guys live, or how does that work?
We use the OGN, so it's 100% live. The FLAM base station is an automatic timesheet generator, and my gliding club talks to OGN. and then the flights are automatically added as the flight occurs, when it takes off and when it lands. So the duty pilots keep a normal paper sheet, just on the flight line. And at the end of the day, the duty pilot, his last responsibility is just to take his paper sheet and just fill in the pilots, the instructor and the student and the tuggy information. So all the entries are already there. All they do is they just go and update it. They don't have to capture flights and all that type of stuff again. It's all there. So it's a 100% live system, yes.
Yeah, but what is that paper now that you're talking about? Now they're still writing some stuff. Is that correct, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's correct. It's just we tried, to be honest with you, we tried having a tablet on the flight line, but it lasted 3 months and it broke and it glass cracked and no data. And we even put a Wi-Fi point with a repeater on the flight line. And it kind of practically didn't work. So all they do is they just use a normal flight folio sheet as a paper based, and they just use that to update at the end of the day.
Sorry, Paul, if I can just add to your comment, the information the FLOM downloads is aircraft information. The duty officer in our club then would have to take that information and add names to it. So that's the additional bit of work that has to be done, because the aircraft information is there, but not the crew for the aeroplane for those times that it flew.
Correct, yes. Yeah, that's for students. If it's a private glider, my gliding club automatically adds the owner in. So he automatically adds the pilot in. So they just need to fill in the students and any packs flying. That needs to be done.
So do they, on the spreadsheet, on the sheet that they write, do they write takeoff time and land time and that stuff, or just?
They do that, yes, but that's only really just as a backup. With load shedding and that, sometimes the FLOM or the AGN doesn't work properly or something like that. Very rarely. I think we get a 95% reliability for the past 5 years. So it's really just a paper-based thing that they kind of just keep it on the flight line, But there's nothing stopping you using your phones if you want to.
Well, I mean, Paul, in that case, seeing that you guys have been using it for 5 years and still doing the paper trail thing, don't you think it will be best for us as club to still use our timesheets as we've got it? And then it's the duty instructors or the duty team to actually log those flights at night on My Gliding Club. I mean, that will just give us paper trail along with digital trail.
Yes, that's what we kind of do. Sometimes the duty pilots, especially if they're running late, they just take a photo of the flight folio, and then when they're at home, they just log into My Gliding Club and then just update all the flights.
Yes, that's basically currently how the few of us that actually do log it on My Gliding Club has been operating. So I think we then just keep on basically doing it in that way. I know it's double work for most people, but I mean, it's just safety in the sense of you do have a paper trail backup.
Yeah, I think until you get maybe the AGN working on your side, then just do that. But I would also strongly suggest put the onus on the students to make sure that their flight that they did or those flights in the day are on My Gliding Club.
Yes.
So make that a student requirement. He must make sure his flight's there. And we do that on our side. It's a student's responsibility to make sure that his flight is on My Gliding Club. Most of the times the duty pilot does it, but sometimes the duty pilot doesn't pitch or he forgets or something. And then the student will just go in and make sure his flight is there. As long as he's covered, then he's happy.
Okay, that's cool, Paul. But now the next question arises in the sense of, let's say the student now is an eager beaver and he starts logging his flights before the duty officer logs the flight. now the duty officer starts loading the flights on My Gliding Club. Will it duplicate the flight, or will it actually say, well, the times are conflicting, this is the duplicate flight?
Yeah, the times will conflict, and you'll see that there's already a flight that's been entered for that entry. It's very difficult to miss, not to miss, you know. So especially if the flight times are exact, you can't enter the same flight time for the same aircraft. So the takeoff time. So the duty pilot will very easily see that the students added his flight in there already.
Okay, no, that's good.
So if you go to the timesheet here, you can actually see here, you'll see the entries. So you can actually see, it's quite easy to see the entries. So you can see that I've already entered mine. So when the duty pilot at the end of the day sees, oh, okay, but hang on, here's already Bailey's, he's done his flight at that time. I don't need to enter it. So I mean, you're quite welcome to get the students, they can capture their flight at any time. And then the duty pilot must just make sure that he fills the gaps in of those that haven't put in their flights, you know.
Okay,
The important thing in My Gliding Club is there has to be a timesheet entry that's marked instruction for a training file to be generated, for a training file to be created for that flight. So that's the minimum if you want to comply for the audits and just run the students in your club. They must create a flight entry here, and then they fill in their training file. But it's honestly, literally, if you're a student, it'll take probably 15 minutes max to fill in all your flights on the day. So it's really not a lot to ask for a student to fill in their stuff. And I mean, that's part of your flying. That's part of, you know, your flying experience. So, you know, they must see it as a positive aspect.
Yeah. Okay, Paul, just one, sorry, your mic is very grainy on my side. I just want to find out, is any of the other participants also experiencing the same thing?
No, to me, it's coming through quite clearly.
Okay, no, that's good. Then it's just on my side, no problem.
Right. Okay. Any other questions?
I have another question. Yes, I have another question, please. If you fly from a different airfield or a different club, say I go down to PE and I want to log a flight from there.
Okay, so if you want to fly at another club, especially a training flight, and you want to log that as well, what you do is you go to My Details, okay, there, and you go to your profile. You go to My Profile Settings. This is where you set up all the details about yourself. It's the same as all these web-based applications where you can set up your passwords and you can change stuff. You can even change your password here, and you can change your username there as well if you want to. There's a thing called affiliated clubs. If you click on that, okay, what you do is you affiliate yourself to Port Elizabeth, PE. So if you go here, you click and say, okay, well, there's or let's say Cape Gliding Club, or let's say Drakensberg, okay? If you affiliate yourself there, then when they enter the timesheet on their side, your name will appear on their club list. So they can enter the timesheet details there. So you just affiliate yourself to the club.
Yeah,
and that'll do it.
Thanks. I'll keep that in mind. Another question: are you going to say something about the exams and so on?
Yeah. So while we're in the profile, an important thing that is handy, and a lot of people don't actually make use of, is your renewal dates. This goes for instructors and just general members. If you parrot in keeping your renewal dates updated, you will get reminder emails probably 2 months before, 30 days before, 15 days, and 7 and 2 days beforehand that it's coming up for renewal. So just make use of it. You know, just fill in the dates, keep them updated. And then if you forget that your renewal's coming through, or you've got your medical that needs to be done, it will remind you, so I would suggest, everyone just make use of that. It's there, so let it work for you. Okay, let me go back again to the main menu. Sorry, what was the question again?
Are you going to say something about the exams?
Yes, I can. I'll get to that last once we finished with my gliding club. Are there any other questions anyone has? We've just really touched on the students and the instructors. Nothing else regarding my gliding club. There's a lot of extra stuff like duty rosters and bookings and things like that, but that one can do at another stage.
Yes, Paul, I think for now, that's our main concern at the club at this moment, seeing that we need to get CAA compliant regarding that. So if we can just, the focus is on that. We can look at all the other features of my gliding club at a later stage. So yeah, let's not make it too long. I mean, it's already 9 o'clock at the moment. So yeah.
Perfect. All right, let me do the exams then. So let's say a student is ready to go solo, or I don't know at what point you get them to do the exams. The instructor would need to issue a PIN code for the student to write the exam. And that would go, the instructors would go to the instructor's training file there. So this is pertinent for the instructors. And you must go to the students members list. Okay, why is there no members list now? Okay, it's probably not active.
It's not because you're in the wrong club. Didn't you change your club?
Yeah, probably, but we have got quite a few students here. So maybe with the new update, that's not working properly. I'll just check that.
It's not because of you, Paul. It's not because of your affiliated club that you changed.
No. Oh, it's possible, but I don't think so. No, because that's for the instructors, so it should show everything there. Students list. It's probably the update that's not working properly. So if you go to the student list here, you go to the student and you edit their profile, and you need to issue a PIN code. I'm just going to show you what the profile will look like. You will be presented with this profile. So you'll select Paul Bailey as a student, okay? And you need to issue there under CFI instructors details. You click that tab, and there on the right-hand side here is an online exam PIN code. So basically, you will have access to the student records here, his profile, and you just issue him with an online exam PIN code there. You can make it, it's got to be, I think, 6 digits or more. So you can probably, I don't know, decide on a PIN code mechanism that you want to use, like portion of your cell phone or something like that. But that has to be issued, and you save it. Once you've issued a PIN code, the student can just go to the exam center by just clicking this icon over there. It's a handy one. It just goes to the exam center. And then you must put the email address in there. I'm going to use a demo one, if I can remember what the demo one is. Hopefully that'll work. Yeah. Okay, so I've just logged in under the demo. The student will be presented with the available exam papers here. So these are the different exam papers that you would do. You would be interested in the GPL ones: air law, principles, flight, nav, met, and human factors. I can mention that Nikki told me he heard that I was giving the session tonight, and he said with this new way of actually doing the AROs within Soaring Society, a lot of this is going to change, the questions and the syllabus and that. but you don't need to worry. We'll update it in my gliding club as and when we get it. So let's say I'm a student and I want to do GPL nav. I just say start the test here. Gives you some instructions, and you just say start new test. And what it'll do is it'll actually, in this one, there's 30 questions, and you've got an hour to do it. And it's kind of multiple choice. So you can just select the questions there, and you just go through it. I'm just quickly going to go through it so you can see what it does. Okay, I'm not going to do the whole lot. It just asks you random questions for the GPL syllabus. Once you get to the end, you do your end test. You can actually skip a question and come back to it. You can do a previous question, but you've got to fill all the questions in. Once you've done it, you say end test, and it'll go and score you automatically. And I think one has to get 75%, I think, to pass on that one, on all the GPL tests. I think that's a standard CAA thing.
Just quick question. Are you able to take a demo exam? Because I see it says demo exam on you.
No, the demo exam is it's for how can I say, unofficial use. You know, those that want to test out the exam papers and that, like the instructors or Nikki and that. Because if we give you the demo, I mean, you could run the demo 100 times and then eventually memorize all the questions. So that's where the PIN code comes in. You'll get issued the PIN code, and then you got a certain period that you can use that PIN code to write the test.
Right.
Paul, another question, please, with regard to the exams. Is there a way that we can access the results of previous exams written?
Yes. So if you log in under your account, so let's say you're a student, you go to my details. My exam results. If you click on that, you go there. It'll basically give you the exam results here, all the exams that you've written. In this case, I did a conversion a while back, on the Janus. And then you can actually just print out the certificate if you want. If you click that, then you can just print out the exam results and you can download it here. I'll just show you what it looks like. There we go. So there's your exam result there. And then you just print it out and you can sign it, and the instructor can sign it. And that makes it official. You can make a copy and leave it in your training file. And that's all you need to do for your exam. So it's quite easy. You write the exam, you finish the exam, you get your result. You can come to your details menu, my details menu, and you can just print out the certificate and get the instructor to sign it. Now, CAA, in all their wisdom, expect a paper copy of every single thing that gets done in the training. Go figure. I mean, everything is in my gliding club or on an online system, but they still want paper copies. So for now, you just print out your certificate, you sign it, you get your instructors to sign it, make a copy and put it in your training file. And then that's it. You will pass your audits very nicely if you do that. Nikki and the guys are trying to get to the point that, and I think we got quite far with CAA, to let us use my gliding club as a self-auditing system. And that's why all this stuff has been put in place, you know, with instructors notifying and signing off training files and everything, because it's all done digitally. So why go and print the reams and reams of paper? So that's the end goal. Eventually, we won't need to use paper. They can just use everything that's done in my gliding club. Any other questions?
Yeah, Paul, if you do the PIN code for the guy, can you do one subject and then later must you get a new PIN code for another subject?
No, that PIN code is there for the duration as long as the instructor allows that PIN code to be used. So he could just give you one PIN code. I think in our club, the instructor just gives one PIN code and then the student will just go and write as and when he needs to. So
if you're busy writing one, you stop. You must start over again.
if you're busy writing the exam and you
can't stop
let's
halfway.
Yeah, look, let's say if you stop halfway, it won't finish it, so it won't log it. So you can always come back to it. So if, let's say you get stuck or you need to go out quickly or something, just come back and start again and then finish it to the end.
Okay.
But the PIN code will last for as long as the instructor keeps that PIN code active. And in our club, they only give you one PIN code and the students use that one PIN code for all the exams.
Okay.
I suspect as part of the self-auditing, CAA will want that PIN code to be per exam, just like they do with their online exams. But we want to just keep it under the radar until we're forced to do that. So one PIN code for the student, and then he can write all the exams on that one PIN code.
I tried to go onto my gliding club now and see my exams, whether I could find any of the exams that I've written previously. I had an NPL, and you know, I may have to write one or two more subjects to convert, but I can't find that information. Is there anywhere else I can find it? Do I have to phone CAA for that information?
Yeah. Look, this doesn't talk to CAA at all. So my gliding club is a completely autonomous system. So you would have to get those details from CAA if you're going to write some of the GPL exams or TMG exams. But if you already got an NPL, there's not much for you to do to convert onto a TMG or something like that. So, you know, I don't think you even need to write the exams. It's just a conversion time, at least an hour, and some other requirements if you got an NPL.
Yeah, I think it's expired. So
okay.
It's expired. I think it's only valid for 2 years or so. I can't remember the details, but then if it's older than 5 years, I think there are 2 subjects you need to write. So I need to get proof of that. Thanks.
Yeah, but yeah, so you can either get proof of that, and then you might not need to do the exams, or else just go and do them. I mean, they're not difficult at all. But yeah, chat to the instructor. Any other questions?
Yeah, so basically from our club is the students haven't really entered their flights, so the instructors haven't received any emails with regards to having to do that. So
correct, yeah.
So now the guys have got a lot of catching up to do to put it in. I think that's what it is. You know, I don't think anybody should be able to get a GPL without having all the stuff filled in and done and dusted.
Correct. I think you must look. You know, we use it 100%. So a student can't go solo until they've filled all their stuff in, and they don't get their GPL until it's all up to date. You know, and we do that because then every year when we do our audits, we don't have a problem with the audits because it all ties up. You know, the student's logbook and the instructor's logbook sync 100%. So I would suggest start with the students and just get the students to log their flights. Make it a prerequisite, you know, and it's quite easy. The instructor on duty on the Sunday can quickly go, because if you log in, let me just show you here. If you log in as an instructor, here it tells me that this student that I did an instructional flight on the 5th of February, Steve, he still hasn't filled in his training file. And I've actually sent him emails and notifications to say, look, he's going to do it and he's not going to go solo until he's done it. Now, if I'm on duty or anyone else is on duty, they can actually see which ones are outstanding. So you can actually refuse to actually instruct the guy and say, look, go quickly to the clubhouse and go and fill your last week's training file in before we fly. Practically, they might be a bit harsh, but you know, I would encourage you to just work with the students, and every flight they do, they must just log it and do a training file. Because I promise you, after that, at your next audit, you just need to print out the stuff from my gliding club, and you will pass everything on that regard.
Okay, Paul, you were saying that the instructor can put a note in there for the next instructor to understand what's going on here. But how's he going to get to that? I mean, we're busy on the airfield doing our thing.
Yeah.
How do we know there's a note that we should be looking at when the next guy is coming?
Well, to be honest with you, it depends on how pro the instructor is. And different instructors see things differently. A couple of our instructors will, before they go and instruct on the Sunday, they'll log into my gliding club on, let's say, the Friday. And we've got a booking system where my gliding club, where the students book their flights, you know, just to give the instructors an indication who's planning to come fly on that day. And then based on that, we'll see, okay, Joe Soap is coming to fly today. And then I'll go in to the training file and just go and see at the last couple of flights what he did and if there were any notes on that regard. So that's basically how we use it.
Do you still have that paper copy as well that you write in what you've done and the numbers and all that nice stuff?
That's in we've got a green student logbook. We use that because that's a very brief summary there. I think you guys have got the blue one, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And yeah, that still gets filled in. So all the student needs to do is basically take what's filled in on that student logbook and just fill it in on my gliding club. That's all he needs to do.
Sorry, Paul, I've got a quick question here. Just so when you're busy filling out your exercises, there's a part where it asks you to upload some sort of I think it's proof. How critical is it to enter that?
Yeah, you mean the supporting documents at the bottom? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
It's not critical. This is more geared for guys who are doing post-solo training or conversions, like a technical exam or you know, proof of medical or something. So these are just really supporting documents. Not many use it, and it's really more geared for the more advanced exercises where maybe they have to write a special exam that's not part of the online exams, you know, and then they just scan it in and upload it as part of the training file.
All right, sure, thank you.
All right. Then another thing, Paul, in our blue student training files, we've got quite a lot of columns, you know, training exercises as such. What do you guys do at Cape Gliding Club, considering, I don't know if your green book has all those training exercises, but I know on our side, there's quite a few that you've got to select. Should our students just basically select the most valuable ones for that training and then just add that, or what would you say?
Yeah, so our logbooks also have the columns with the different exercises. They're kind of consolidated. So one is like circuit planning, and circuit planning might cover 2 or 3 exercises here. So there's circuit planning and maybe approach. These two might be combined, you know, and that might be as one column. So yeah, and we don't always fill every column in. We only fill those that have been done on that exercise. And then all the student does is he just fills in the ones of the actual exercises that he did. So even though you might have 20 columns, you might only have done these 4 exercises for that flight. So you just choose these exercises here. You just choose the closest matching one and then just mark it. And that's where the instructor will come in and see, yeah, okay, but we did circuit planning, but he chose landing instead. That's not quite right. So he can actually just change it himself before he approves it. Unfortunately, these exercises were created by previous historical actions on CAA, you know, us going to CAA and RASA and the whole new curriculum and everything. And it's very much power flying related. And I think with Nikki and them, they're reducing this now, and they're going to really just optimize it specifically for gliding and TMG. So I think these exercises will change shortly to be more in tune with the logbooks. So they will be probably almost identical to the logbooks.
All right, thanks.
Great. Any other questions? Well, I think
how would you handle PAX flights?
PAX flights.
Yeah, because it's not a real student yet.
Yes,
so he won't fill in the training, and we actually need to record it as a training flight. Because we can't call it the PAX flight.
I see what you're saying. So what I suggest you do in that case, actually, I don't know what our club does, but I think what you can do is when you add a new timesheet here, we've created a one called TIFF booking, ab initio student or something. So just generated a dummy member that basically says introductory training. It's actually a TIFF flight, which is a training introductory flight. That's the proper word to use that CA wants us to use. So I would suggest create a dummy member called TIFF, TIF, or training introductory flight or something. And then you select that as the P2 pupil there and the P1 instructor. But then I would suggest just select an intro PAX there, because then it won't generate a training file. You don't want the instructor to be saddled with a non-existent student that is irritating you with these emails. So that's what I would suggest doing. Okay, what we do is we get our visitors to book on our website. So my gliding club has a booking facility where you can get visitors to book. And then once they book, then you just select a name from here, and then you just put their name here with the indemnity form. So it's all above board from CA's perspective. So we don't bother. We'll just put there's intro PAX. There you can see the instructors flying. You can see there's no P2 here. It takes it out. And it just makes him, he was the instructor that took the PAX, and there's the visitor name there. You can either do that, or you can dynamically add him there. So you can add the visitor's details there if you want to keep track of that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, well, good. I think we've covered everything. Sorry, it went on a bit longer, but hopefully there's a bit of detail, and we'll split up the videos into different sections, and I'll put it in my gliding club under the help menu here. So it's easily accessible for those that want to just know on just a bit of a video on each aspect.
Thanks a lot. Well done.
Yes,
yeah, thanks. It was very informative.
All right, thanks, Paul. I think that's it. So yes, what we'll do on our side is also we'll add this onto our YouTube account, Magalies Gliding Club YouTube account. So you can always come back and revisit this video should you forget. So yes, I just want to thank Paul for all the effort put into my gliding club and also on this training session. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, anytime. And yeah, I think Hilton, if you're the contact person, you're welcome to ask me anything. So if students and that have a question, that just go via Hilton or the responsible person there, just so I don't get inundated with 100 different queries. I can just work with one person, and then yeah, I can point you in the right direction and help you get My Gliding Club running for your club, because literally it runs our whole club, with everything. So we have minimal admin on our side, very little admin. So yeah, good luck, and yeah, thanks for the time. Cheers, everyone.
Hilton, just a quick one. Hilton, who actually is responsible there? Is there anybody that we've identified?
It would be me. As far as I understand, it would be me. So if anybody has any questions regarding My Gliding Club, just ask me directly. If I don't know the answer, I will ask Paul and get back to you, everyone.
Super, thanks.
Cool.
Well, thanks very much
to all organizers.
Thanks, Hilton.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for attending.
Thanks.
Have a great evening.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you again, Mark.